A quorum being present, the meeting will come to order. Mr. Deegan, if you'd like to read the return of the warrant.
To the constables of the town of Hopkinton, in the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby required to notify and warn all inhabitants of the town of Hopkinton qualified to vote in elections and in town affairs of the special town meeting warrant this day, Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Hereof, and fail not, and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the clerk of said town of Hopkinton at the time and place aforesaid, given under our hands this 4th day of December 2025.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on the coldest night of the year, and welcome to town meeting. I am your town moderator, Zach Kosan. I'm going to start with going over a few rules of the hall to help ensure a smooth and orderly meeting. If you wish to speak, please line up in the left and right aisles. We only have one microphone tonight, as opposed to our usual two, so please wait at the end of the aisle until I recognize you. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Do not feel obligated to use the entire 2 minutes. I will hold up a yellow card, since we do not have our friendly shot clock, when you have 15 seconds left, and a red card when time has expired. I won't cut you off mid-word, but please wrap up within a few seconds. No one may speak a second time on the same motion until everyone has had an opportunity to speak once, and no person may speak more than twice on the same motion. Speakers may not interrupt each other, except for a point of order or question of privilege. When you come to the microphone, please open with your name and address. Please direct all questions and comments to me, not to the meeting, the presenter, or any other individual. Please limit your questions and comments to the subject matter of the pending motion or the point of order or question of privilege just raised. Please remember that this meeting is both a body charged with legislative responsibilities and a community. Personal attacks are unproductive. Civility on everyone's part is appreciated. Finally, please do not applaud or boo during or after any speaker's remarks. Not only does it slow down the meeting, but it risks intimidating speakers who hold different views, and this is a forum where every member of the community should feel like their voice can be heard. And before we get started, if you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, I will move on to our first and only article on the warrant tonight, Article 1, Amend Fiscal Year 2026 Operating Budget. Mr. Flannery?
Test. Thank you. We move that the town vote to amend the fiscal year 2026 operating budget as approved in Article 5 of the May 5th, 2025 annual town meeting by reducing the general fund appropriation from $126,479,272 to $120,825,637 by amending the amounts set forth in the Appropriation Committee report with recommendations approved April 16th, 2025. The column titled Appropriation Committee Recommendation for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, in the column titled Appropriation Committee Recommendation by amending the total debt service from $12,887,957 to $9,362,304, and total employee benefits and insurance from $21,267,722 to $19,1 $139,739.
Thank you. Does the Select Board recommend approval?
Not yet.
Test. Can you hear me? Select Board recommends approval.
Thank you. Appropriations?
Appropriation Committee recommends approval.
Thank you. I believe you have a brief presentation.
We thought it might be helpful just to start off with the one question we've heard most often over the last couple of weeks, and I've asked our CFO to share on exactly what happened to bring us here this evening. So, Kyla?
So every year, the town's budget is based on estimates for both expenditures and revenue. Many of the estimates are based on prior year estimates since actuals are not known yet. For FY26, there were a few items that had material impact on the budgeting process because of these estimates. The first is health and benefits. The FY25 actuals came in $3 million less than estimated, so our FY26 forecast was overestimated as well. Once our FY25 actuals were known, we realized that we could reduce the FY26 request of $21 million to $19 million, as Bill just mentioned. The second item is debt, both on the payment side and on the exclusion side. Again, this is an estimate since our borrowing did not take place when the FY26 budget was built. The other important fact is that the town of Hopkinton has never come close to borrowing an amount of $90 million like we did this year. For FY26, we borrowed $90 million. The most the town has ever borrowed in the past 10 years was $25 million. Our estimate was extremely conservative, and when the borrowing went out to bid, we were able to obtain a really good rate in a short-term band for the majority of the money, and this was a savings of over $3 million. The third consideration is the difference between the budget calculation and the DOR calculation for the tax rate setting process. The DOR calculation uses actuals on the revenue side and estimates on the expenditure side. This makes our budget setting process challenging when we aren't able to use our estimates for both the revenue as well as the expenditures. The fourth item are expenses that were not part of the original budget. The snow and ice deficit was approximately $500,000. We had abatements and exemptions for $530,000. And our new growth came in $400,000 less than expected. That was an additional $1.4 million that was not in our original budget. When you pull all of these factors together, the amount we calculated to raise to cover our expenses was too high. It was over our levy limit, so there's only one choice, and that is to lower our expenses. That was easy, given where we came in at 2025. This is truly a benefit to the town of Hopkinton because our expenses for FY26 are now less, and you all benefit from that. There were some learnings from this year that can help us prevent another town meeting during Christmas time. Using free cash for snow and ice going forward instead of using that in the tax rate calculation. Forecasting abatements and exemptions higher than usual, so that gets included in the budget setting process. For FY27, we're not planning to borrow another $90 million. I'm sure you're all sighing relief. We're only expected to borrow $30 million in '27. We are considering a placeholder for a special town meeting in the fall instead of an emergency meeting at Christmas. Our actuals for the current fiscal year won't be known until around August of '26. So we may have to reset again in the fall once we know our actuals for '26 when they're finally settled. That will allow us to have a much more managed levy setting process to make sure we're not in this position again.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? Please line up in the aisles. On my left.
Hi, I'm Darlene Hayes, 1 3rd Road, and before we go ahead and approve this that we need to do, from my understanding is that this was caught by the state, not by us internally, and not by our finance department, and that when you're saying these estimates, that this should have been caught by August. And these special town meetings cost over $10,000 to have. I've been told before about $15,000 to have. That what is in place that we won't have this happen again? And if we've earmarked a special town meeting for next fall, are we saying that that's for an override then?
Thank you. Mr. Flannery?
Kyla can answer the first part, and I can do the second part.
So a couple of corrections. This was caught by the town in the tax rate setting process. We cannot even submit forms to the Department of Revenue until they are underneath the levy limit. So when we were doing our calculations, this was caught by the town. We brought it to the DOR to understand what our options were in solving the process. The second is the town meeting. This venue right now, we're not using electronic clickers, and we're trying to do this in the most inexpensive way possible, so roughly $1,000.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. And I'll now entertain a motion to dissolve the town meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move to adjourn the town meeting, dissolve.
Second.
All in favor of dissolving the town meeting? Aye. Any opposed? The town meeting is dissolved.